Hello everyone, welcome to lesson number 4 of the second module. Let's quickly recap on the previous lessons. On the previous lesson we had touched on knowing your clients so that you can sell a service that they believe solves their problems. That's very important. So you got to know how your clients think about your product, and you also got to validate your assumptions that you had about them. On this lesson, we will be digging further so that you have enough information about them so that you'll be able to create an ad that will convince them to buy from you. So let's begin. So today we're going to look at number 1, why you need to know your audience. Number 2, how to create impactful marketing for your business. Number 3, find the problems your target audience has. Don't dismiss this. There may be problems that you've overlooked which may help you make your service much better. Number 4, create a compelling message for your marketing. Number 5, make your message memorable. And then number 6, how to know where to place your marketing. Okay, why you need to know about your audience. This is really important. If you should strive to learn anything about marketing, learn about your audience. All the answers that you need, you'll get from them. Knowing about your audience covers 4 things that are really critical in marketing. Number 1 is what your audience needs. Number 2, where do they spend their time? Number 3, what questions do they have? And number 4, how they express themselves. Okay, let's unpack what these 4 critical elements in marketing mean. Number 1, what your audience needs. This determines what you need to offer your audience. If you don't know this, then you shouldn't create a product yet. Because your product is determined by what your audience needs. And if then you don't know what they need, then believe me, they will not buy the product that you've created for them, because more or less it won't satisfy their needs. So in order to create an effective product, you firstly need to know what they need. And then number 2, where do they spend their time? This determines where your product and your business should be visible, because you need to be where your audience is. It's a waste of money for you to advertise on Facebook when your audience isn't on Facebook. It's a waste of money for you to advertise on a newspaper if your audience doesn't even read a newspaper. So knowing where they spend their time is very critical to where you place your advertising or your marketing. And number 3, what questions do they have? This will help you explain the results, address the objections that they may have, in order for your audience's decision making to be simple. You need to make it easier for them to decide whether they want to work with you or not. And obviously, when you know the questions that they have based on the problems that they have, then you will be able to decipher if this is the best client for you or not. And then the last one, how they express themselves. This helps you with developing the tone for your marketing message to create an emotional connection between your audience and your solution. When you look at ads have different tones to them. Like Coca-Cola ads, they have the tone of compassion, love, and all of that. But when you look at oil ads, like maybe like Caltex or this or that, their tone is totally different. Their tone is very manly more than anything. So knowing how your audience expresses themselves will determine how the tone of your message should be. Okay, now let's dig deep into these 5 steps. So let's begin with step number 1, your potential audience. You need to research your potential audience, and by potential audience, I mean audiences that you will be researching to find out if your solution works best for their problems. Doing research on these audiences doesn't mean you've already chosen your target market. You can just choose 3 audiences that you believe may need your solution. But what you're trying to do is to make sure that your solution fits that audience's problem perfectly. That's what we're trying to achieve. For example, we have one of our clients, she's a dietitian. I mean, dietitians are like doctors of food, if you could say. And you thinking that, everybody eats food, so a dietitian can literally target everyone. But that will be a waste of resources and time. So what we did is we distilled her potential audiences into 3 audiences. 1, it was women who wanted to lose weight. 2, it was old people with diabetes, high blood pressure, and cholesterol. And 3, it was sportsmen or women who wanted to be high performers in their field, whether they played rugby or soccer or athletics. So how can you find all of this information about your potential audiences? There are a couple of ways you could do it. But first, what you need to do is you need to have a keyword sentence of the benefit of your product. So like for instance, let me say you're running a restaurant that sells African foods. Your key benefit might be, we give you authentic African foods. So your keyword sentence might be authentic African foods. If you are running a makeup service and you're giving women a natural look, even though they have makeup, your keyword sentence might be beautiful, natural makeup. Once you have your keyword sentence, now you need to go onto Amazon.com or Yelp.com. Yelp is good for restaurants and Amazon is good for products and books, literally everything that you want. But what you need to do when you get to Amazon is you need to type out your keyword search onto that search. And then it will show you products, books, and everything related to that keyword sentence. And what you need to do is to go there and read the reviews of that product or book. You will get a lot of information about how your audience expresses themselves, the problems that they express, and the objections that they have. And the other technique that you can use, it's also a bit close to Amazon. It's Quora or Reddit. So Quora and Reddit are sites where people ask questions, like they literally ask questions about anything in the world. And they depend on other people to respond to their questions. So this is very, very, very important, because here you get to understand the questions that your audience asks. And on the answers, you will be able to decipher if this is the best answer or this is not the best answer. And sometimes, even if you don't know the answer, you will be able to get the best answer from the person who answered that question. So Quora and Reddit, you simply do the same thing. You go into Quora or Reddit, you type in your keyword sentence on their search bar, and then it will show you everything, every question, every answer that is related to your keyword sentence. And the third technique that you can use is blog comments. So what you do here is you go into blogs of companies or people that sell what you sell. So if maybe there's a blog comment about, selling African foods, you can go into that and then read the comments of people regarding that blog post. That is great because people get to be emotional. And believe me, when they are in their own space with a laptop, they can give you so much information about themselves. Whether it is them ranting, whether it is them trying to figure out a problem, or whether it is them saying that, you know what, you need to add more. Those are things that you need to know about your audience. And that is very, very valuable information that you will need to use later on. And then the last technique that you can use is the same principle as the blog comments, is YouTube comments. So what you do here is you go into a YouTube channel of a person who does the same. It can be a person or a company that does the same thing as you do. And then you go on to check out the comments on the videos, on their videos. And that is the same thing. People comment, they show what is it that they struggle with, what is it that they hate, what is it that they didn't like about the video. Those are very And now, step number 2, choosing your target audience. After you've done your research on your potential audiences, then you come to make a decision on the audience to focus on at the moment. We do this so that you can focus and not try to do everything all at once. Our businesses fail most of the time because we're trying to do everything for everyone. For example, going back to our client who is a dietitian, she had 3 audiences. One was women who wanted to lose weight, 2 old people suffering from diabetes, high blood pressure and cholesterol, and 3 sportsmen and women. So we looked at her solution to see which audience problems were best suited for her solution. The old people audience wasn't suited for her solution because her eating plans were based on expensive food, which made it to be too costly for them. Again, her solution didn't work for the sportsmen and women because she would need to be at the field at times and she hated that. But her solution fitted perfectly with women who wanted to lose weight. They didn't mind paying as much as they did as long as they saw the results and they trusted her because she was living the lifestyle that she wanted them to live. Basically, she was a personification of the results that she could get them. And women who wanted to lose weight were a perfect audience for her. So you may wonder how then you'll get to choose your target audience. This is how you're going to do it. Firstly, you need to ask yourself a question. Should I go with this audience? So you'll choose one out of the 3 that you have. And then the second thing that you do is you need to list out the positives of going with that audience and the negatives, and then you will measure the score based on the worst and the best audience to go with. So like for instance, let's say our client decided to go with women who want to lose weight. So the positives is that our client is a woman herself. She wanted to lose weight for a very long time. So therefore, she understands this market because she is the market. And then the negatives might be, it's a lot of work. Because obviously now she has to develop programs for these ladies, do one-on-one sessions with them and all of that. And like, you know what, that's a lot of work. And you may look at this and wonder that, okay, flip, the first positive, what score can I give it? Her understanding the market and her being the market, that is like the ultimate benefit. So we give that score a 10. And the negative, it's, this thing has a lot of work. But now what we want to do with the negative is we want to come up with possible solutions to that negative. So if then it's a lot of work for her to do, what she can do is she can outsource other people to do some of the work. So once then we've come up with that solution, then we can say, okay, fine, we can give this negative a score of 5. And then what we do after we've listed out all the positives and the negatives and given each one of them scores, what we do is we tally up all the scores and come up to a final total score. And obviously, if the audience that you chose, the positives outweigh the negatives, then that's the audience you should go with. But if the audience that you chose, the negatives outweigh the positives, then you should choose another audience and do the same process over again. Now we're getting into step number 3, influencing your target audience's decision. Once you've chosen your target audience, then you need to know what questions they have. It may be questions they ask themselves or questions they ask others. Knowing this helps you grab your audience attention with your marketing. If I have a problem, I will definitely have questions about it. And I will give attention to any advert that is willing to answer that question for me. For example, with our dietitian client, her clients needed to know how can they lose weight without sacrificing food. They also wanted to know how can they lose weight quicker. They also wanted to know what do they need to do to maintain their weight. These were questions that her audience needed answers to, and she had the answers for them. But the thing is, once you know those questions your audience have, then you're able to give them the answers, and this will make your advert influential. So now let's look at how you can make your advert influential. Step number 1, what you need to do is go back to your research you did, make a list of all the questions that came out of that research, And then secondly, you need to answer those questions. But please be honest, give in-depth insights on the matter, and reveal how your product will help them regarding that issue. Those are very, very crucial, important things. Don't simply answer the question vaguely. You need to be specific about what is it that they should be expecting and what is it that they will get out of this thing. And now, step number 4, making your message memorable. Simply answering your audience's questions won't make your message memorable. It is helpful and it will definitely make it easier for your audience to make a decision of whether to buy your solution or to buy the competitor's solution. Hence, it is very important to know how your audience expresses their frustrations, goals, dreams, and etc. This will help you make your message memorable. For example, going back to our dietitian client, people who want to lose weight will never express themselves like this. They'll never say, I want to lose 16 kgs in 2 weeks. Instead, they'll say something like, I want to fit into my old favorite jeans. A doctor may say the first sentence, but how this audience expresses themselves is not the same way as the person who's offering them a solution, and that needs to change. So you knowing how they express themselves, then you know how you can communicate with them in a manner they'll understand what you are saying to them. When you do this, your audience will feel you understand them on a deeper level. So how do you go about making your message memorable? Firstly, you need to go back to your research again, look at the metaphors that your audience use, specific words that they use, the statements that they made, the word imagery they use to express their problems, desires, or frustrations. And then secondly, you need to integrate those expressions into the answers that you've just written. For example, with our dietitian client, she had said on a flyer, my program will help you lose 16 kgs in 2 weeks. But when she realized that the audience expresses this benefit by using the imagery of fitting into their old favorite jeans, she changed that headline to my program will help you fit into your old favorite jeans in 2 weeks. That is powerful. Then, you'll simply lose weight. You'll simply lose 16 kgs in 2 weeks. For the fact that you know that they want to fit into their old jeans, that makes it very, very powerful and it makes it emotional to them. And the last step, looking for where to advertise. By advertising, I don't refer to TV ads or billboard ads. Simply being on Facebook and uploading your content on Facebook is advertising because there are people who see that content and there are people who respond to that content. Regarding this, you need to be where your audience is. It's no use advertising on a certain platform because other people are doing it. Sometimes emulating what others are doing isn't the best solution. So you need to know where they are and be on those platforms yourself. For example, our dietitian client has been featured on Longevity Magazine, Health 24, Home and Leisure. She's doing all of this, giving advice to women that want to lose weight, because these are platforms where women who want to lose weight are, and they seek advice from these type of magazines. So this was a perfect platform for her to be able to give that similar advice to this audience. So how do you find the platforms to advertise on? So first thing that you need to do is to go into Google and then type the question that your audiences have. And then once you do that, Google will show you blog pages, Facebook pages, even websites that will actually cater to that question. And what you need to do is to make note of those web pages, whether it's a blog, whether it's a Facebook page, whether it's a tweet that somebody sent. You just need to record all of these because these will be the places where your audiences will be spending their time. For the fact that they asked themselves this question, there's 100% chance that they typed it on Google, and there's 100% chance that they clicked on the Google results in order to find an answer. So you going into those sites and keeping a record of them, you actually keeping a record of where your audience spends their time. You can use the same principle on Facebook. You can go to Facebook, but with Facebook, you don't type the question. Just type the keyword sentences that you created on the first step, and then type those into your Facebook, and then Facebook will show you all the pages that fall under that keyword sentence. So like for instance, if you go there and type authentic African foods, it will show you all the pages that have the word authentic and African into it. And then obviously you will choose which ones actually work best for your service or your product. And the same thing applies onto Twitter as well. You can go into Twitter and then type in your keyword sentence, and then you will find those search results. And then just make sure that you keep the web addresses of those places, because later on those are the places you will be looking whether to advertise on or to connect with people who run those pages to endorse you, because that's where your audience is at. Okay, so we're actually done for lesson number 4. The next lesson will come with a new module, which will be module 3. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. Cheers.